Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and hey, welcome to Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 299. Wow, chapter 300, next chapter. Woo! I guess next chapter is probably going to be the start of the Megumi stuff. But anyway, yeah, chapter 299. I didn't do one for 298, partly because time happened, and then also partly because I just didn't have anything substantial to say, aside from just how funny it is that the blue has an idea of foul play going on. But yeah, didn't have much to say for the last chapter. So here we are with 299, a Monday morning video. Hopefully it'll get up to the channel before Monday night. Anyway, guys, hey, welcome. So this chapter of Shokugeki no Soma, I think it's overall like it's a nice chapter. I think the Don Kalma fight in general was pretty nice. It was pretty grounded because at the end of the day, the most crazy thing that we're getting here in terms of superpowers are just like, you know, Takumi spinning a Mezzaluna around as the human meat process or whatever Soma called him, or just his insane compatibility with Soma in general. Like, that's not so unheard of. That's not so, you know, pushing the boundaries of common sense. And then even on Don Kalma's side, his thing was just pretty good coordination. Like, this is, I think, like these superhuman abilities are kind of at the level of people like Hayama, and you know, it's kind of at the level of someone like Ryo. I think this is totally reasonable. I think this is fine. Heck, I think it's even at the level of Tsukasa before he picked up swordplay. So cool stuff overall in terms of just, you know, I guess the special talents going into this. Although, again, you know, like it's another one of these things where you look at it and you look at these superhuman people thing, like, how could this be possible? How could these people be possible of making this insane kind of combination? This combination shouldn't work, blah, 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 blah. It's also funny to, like, think that this is the person that Esdeath said that had an uninspired idea earlier on. Point is, when you look at the Soma side of things, you again, it reinforces, like, really, Soma has experience. Experience is winning out here. We're still hitting on that. It's kind of ridiculous that a person who is apparently so trained, so experienced, is having trouble, you know, just rationalizing why Soma is able to work hard or why he's able to work effectively. It's just, you know, the rhetoric at the level of the noir chefs as villains, just it doesn't work. It kind of falls apart, and it just seems really ridiculous because they have to say things to make it seem like the heroes are so amazing, but the things that they're saying about what makes the heroes amazing is contradictory when you jump between noir chef. It just doesn't work. In terms of you know, again, another writing problem, or something I would argue is a writing problem, and this is coming into the premising of the blue. Like, you know, on one level, we know that functionally the blue is a place for Megumi, Takumi, and Soma. We know functionally that the author wants to use those three popular characters. That's why they're in this arc. That's why other people could be skipped for this arc. The thing with the premising here is that you see that An is the one that discovered Takumi's little yeah, his special ability. But the thing is, Takumi's ability requires cooperation with his brother. What I'm trying to say is that initially when this arc started and people asked, hey, like, where are the other kids from Totsuki? Why aren't they here? Why isn't Akira here? Because he's like he's the poster boy for this. People said, oh no, man, it's probably because, you know, they're just going after the ones that they taste tested during the Regiment de Cuisine, which is fair. But then when you look at Anne's behavior here, she went around, she had to have been watching Takumi after he went back to Totsuki to be able to find out what exactly his superhuman ability is, because his superhuman ability specifically requires elements that Takumi didn't have during the actual Regiment de Cuisine. So when you consider that Anne had the resources to go and investigate and actually go to Totsuki after the Regiment de Cuisine, then the next question is, like, well, why didn't they expand resources to the other shining stars of the first series at that time? And it's just simply, the author just didn't want to include those characters in here, even though the logic would dictate that those characters would have had a fair shot, especially Akira, because if Joichiro has enough clout that he can get Soma a nomination, then June definitely has enough clout because she's a food researcher. She's discovered a lot of really cool things. It's ridiculous that she didn't, or, you know, she wasn't able to nominate him. And even if she couldn't nominate him, Senzai Mon probably could have. It's just, again, the premising of the blue sucks. It's just slapped together because the author needs certain characters to show up at certain places. And this chapter just kind of reinforces that. Although people aren't going to really point this out. Which is like, whatever. We'll see how this all goes. But every week I think more and more people are turning over to the side of, this is kind of rushed. That said, I think this chapter is one of the better ones. And it's a large part because of the Soma and the Takumi relationship. I think this was a pretty good round. Moving away from all the cooking stuff, seeing the flashback of Takumi and Soma's countless, Shokugekis, I think that was a really great way of doing it. Show that, this isn't an issue of one person is always stronger than the other. I think Soma has been pretty good with giving you this idea, just that people can win against each other sometimes. It's just a matter of tiers. It's just a matter of like, Soma will probably win 60% of the time, but Takumi has a 40% shot. It's something like that. So I really enjoyed what the author did with showing how the Metaluna was won back. Now, personally, I do wish we could have seen this, like, even just thrown about throughout a school arc. You just could have just had the kids having these little battles every now and again. Maybe it could have been referenced on the side, and then we could have seen the final battle. There could have been ways of doing this in another fashion, but since we are in the blue, it makes sense that the author did it this way. Although, again, we could always play the what if game and say, well, if we had another arc of school time, we could have probably squeezed this in here. Is it still effective in this chapter? Yeah, I would say so. I'd say it's pretty effective. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good that we got this. It's good. It's just one thing that I am not very happy about is that there's a certain feeling of finality to it, and I don't know if it's because I'm already biased into the thought, but it just feels like these are like the culmination of Soma and Takumi's character arc, and I'm just that gets me kind of sad because yeah, I think I would have liked more time with the two characters, especially because Takumi was the character that was always getting laughed at. Like, he's the character that gets made a joke of, even in the OVAs. He's the character, when Akira and Ryo showed up, Takumi just kind of fell into the background. Like, how was he going to compete with these monsters? And in some ways, he still really can't compete with the monsters given his current placement. But it's just an issue of, I would have liked to see more of Takumi's growth to a point where he could compete with those particular three monsters. But getting it from the Soma's side is cool and all. It's just, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm happy that Takumi got to a point where he's getting exposure. It's unfortunate it had to go down like this. I think it would be cool to see more of Takumi versus Soma. And especially if Takumi's special ability relies on having his brother or Soma around. I would love to see a team battle with Soma and maybe Irina versus Takumi and Isami. Now, mind you, having Irina on Soma's side is a giant advantage, but I think that would be worthwhile. Heck, maybe even Takumi and Isami versus Hayama and Ryo, or Ryo and Alice. Those are very interesting combinations that I think would really push to be able to say whether or not Takumi is in some aspects superior than these other two. Because I do think he does need the accolades against Hayama and Ryo. Well, I would have said I think he needs it if we were still in like the pre-Regiment de Cuisine era. But after the Regiment de Cuisine era, they kind of did more for Takumi in general in the manga. One thing I am overall sad about, though, is that we did not get to see any of Stalker Takumi. I think we could have had it, but whatever. I'm still overall pretty happy about this. So, Soma and Takumi create a combination of flavors that a bookman has never created, and the Noirs still think that they're all that hot. And it's like, nah, man, you don't understand. The rhetoric of Soma will always require that the heroes be more incredible than you are, and then you will not be able to figure it out, even though really you should be able to figure out what they're doing and why they're capable of doing such things. Because this doesn't really require talent, just kind of requires experience. Anyway, other things. There was one more thing. Izami is safe by the end of the chapter, which is just funny. It's good that the blue has, security to be able to go find the others. Oh, sorry, to be able to go find Izami when he's been kidnapped by a bunch of cross-dressers. Like, yeah, I'm happy that he was saved. It was cool to see some of the people from the Polar Star dorm in the flashbacks. That was neat, because we're not going to see them anytime soon. Anyway, Overall, I do think it was a pretty solid chapter just for the Takumi and the Soma relationship, and also it was kind of solid because the actual incredible aspects here are pretty understandable. They're not anything on the level of Asahi or not on the level of anything involving a detonator. So guys, let me know what you thought down below. And until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.